Hello, dear chess friends. Welcome to late Friday night Banter Blitz. Today is my comeback after a 2 weeks break. So the main reason of this break was that I visited Hamburg to take part in the anniversary tournament. So it was dedicated to the anniversary of Hamburg Chess Club. It was a great tournament, actually, a closed international master tournament. And well, I played not very good, actually, so I definitely could have played much better, but well, the result was not that bad after all. I managed to score some points and actually finished second, so I won some money as a prize. And the main reason of my trip to Hamburg was a bit different. So I wanted to visit this city to see one of the best cities in the world. Now I know the reason why many people consider this city one of the best ones, maybe the best one in the world. So it is really great. I also visited the main office of Chess24. That was also great, and met a lot of great people doing this great stuff for all of us, right? I also met a lot of chess players, so I made friends with some of them, and now I have more people to spend the time with, right? Also very important thing. But this trip was quite resourceful, and actually I'm a bit exhausted. So today my main goal is not to blunder a lot and also not to be very slow, because the tournament was played with this typical classic for nowadays, of course, time control. And I definitely forgot what it takes to play Blitz, right? So let's play, okay? By the way, more details about my trip, about the tournament, and analysis of some games will be during the next Training Tuesday. So premium members are welcome. And now let's get to chess. Let's get to play. I already have some challenges. Just tell me if everything works smooth with the broadcast. By the way, there could be some sound effects, so maybe you experience some echo because of another portion of news. So I actually moved to another apartment, and I'm exhausted with this stuff as well. So that's why my room, from where I usually air, is at the moment actually quite empty. That's why maybe echo may arise, right? Okay, so let's play. So the first challenger today was B virus. Okay, I accept. And let's play. So I play with white, and I start with the e4. Okay, sound is fine. That's great. Very nice. c5, Sicilian in the very first game. So I think it will be a tough fight. Let's play d4. Takes. And g6 immediately. Prior to playing knight f6, something new. Well, okay, so how should I react? With the c4 maybe? Yeah, I think if I have a chance to play that, why not to grab the space prior to playing knight c3? So now I have more space, and definitely quite pleasant position. Knight goes to f6. Okay, there are a lot of different possibilities. I will just continue development. Bishop to e2, preparing castling, and at the same time controlling g4 square so that my bishop can easily occupy e3 square. Miktal asks, what do you think of a battle Chess24 GMs and IMs against Chess.com GMs and IMs? I'm not sure I understand what are you talking about. Just a suggestion. Yeah, it might be an interesting activity, of course. Yeah. Okay, rook e8. I don't understand opponent's play, actually. So what is the idea? Typically, rook e8 is played when black wants to prevent bishop h6 exchanging bishops. At the moment, I didn't have the threat of playing bishop h6, so I think rook e8 makes no sense. So let's continue development. Rook goes to c1. Why not? So now my plan is quite simple. I want to prepare something like knight d5 at the proper moment. Maybe right now, why not? So queen c7 just helps me to do that, right? So now I do this with the tempo. Looks like very promising position already. Queen goes back to d8. Yeah, just waste of a tempo. But now my e4 pawn is hanging, so I have to protect it, and I think f3 should be just fine. Well, now I got your idea, Miktal. Yeah, it might be very interesting. Very interesting, I mean, for both sides. Maybe we will see this fight in the future, I don't know. From my side, I can just offer this activity. The question is, will it be interesting for CEOs or not? But we'll see. Interesting idea. Okay, knight goes to e5, and now what? After f4, this knight will be forced to d7, so why not to do that? Grabbing more and more space with each move. So this knight will probably get to f6 next move. What to do? So I can try knight b5 now. Looks very promising, just creating a threat of knight c7. And I can't see a normal defense. I mean, bishop b2, rook goes to c2, attacking the bishop. Then knight c7. So it looks like black will be forced to waste the time again, just playing something like, I don't know, rook f8. But then knight c7, rook goes to b8, and bishop takes a7, grabs the material. So yeah, I think my position is already very close to winning. Okay, rook c2, what is next? Another question, Andre, will you analyze or comment World Championship games? Well, I won't comment them live, alright? There are a lot of guys better than me doing this stuff. But I will definitely pay attention to this match, probably analyzing some games in depth during training Tuesdays. So stay tuned. I believe that it will be a great fight, so that, well, there will be a lot of interesting material to discuss. I mean, according to our general topic of decision making and improvement. Moreover, one of my training Tuesdays was already dedicated to analyzing the game between Magnus Carlsen and Karyakin. So I believe there will be a lot of material to analyze. Again. Okay, so looks like I just spoiled something, right? So I had an extra rook. At the moment I have some problems with the knight, but maybe it's just a minor issue because my position is still very good. So what to do? Maybe bishop takes c5, bishop c5, rook c5, pawn takes c5, d6, protecting the knight, and if e takes d6, then that goes to d5. So I will have what? I will have extra minor piece. Yeah, I think it's better than having an extra exchange, so I will do that. Okay. Next Tuesday is training Tuesday again? Yes. Next Tuesday is definitely a training Tuesday. So it's time to come back. I mean, 2 weeks is too much. I was actually missing this training Tuesday stuff. Because you know what? I don't only do this for you guys, but also for me. I also have pleasure when doing this stuff. Okay, so queen g6, bishop h5, I think, will be winning. f7 drops, after which I think it's over. So what to do now? To take on f7 with the bishop, with the rook, or with the queen? There are so many opportunities. Okay, I will take with the rook. So queen d4, only move. Oh no, this is a mistake. Now queen drops. Okay, I won. So a lot of mistakes by B virus, right? So the first one, I think, was not a mistake, but inaccuracy. So after g6, you give him a chance to play this Maritzi bind, very comfortable setup for white. Another one, I believe, was rook a8, so just waste of time. And finally, queen c7, just giving him a chance to play knight d5. So a lot of moves that just wasted the time and gave me a chance to improve my position. So you should avoid playing these moves. Okay. Let's continue. So next challenger was Duke Crusher, accept. So let's see if Duke manages to crush me today. e4. It's just a water. b6. Come on. Okay, d4. That is an opening provocation. By the way, the next Training Tuesday's topic will be how to react to the opening provocation. So you're welcome once again. The bishop b7. What to do now? To play just knight c3 or just f3? I believe that there are a lot of moves. They're quite good for white. I mean, why not f3, just supporting e4 pawn and making bishop b7 quite passive. Also possible stuff to play. Okay, now black will probably do something like French. I mean, playing d5 and then forcing me to play e5. There are, again, a lot of different things to play. I will play c4. I believe that it can't be bad. Bishop b4 check, and let's play knight to c3. Okay, so now we will have sort of mix of Indian defense ideas with French, with a lot of different stuff. Okay, d5, how to react on that? Well, cd5, ed5, and then e5 should be a typical reaction, and I will try it. I will try it in this game. Now I should be very, very careful because I made a lot of pawn moves in the opening, so black is just very good developed and no questions. Black starts very active play already. Oh, by the way, I missed an opportunity to play queen a4 check. Come on. I mean, forcing the knight to c6, which is quite ugly. Yeah. That is what I was talking about in the very beginning, so I'm exhausted, so I blunder a lot of things. But okay. Now I'll play a3. Now I have at least a pair of bishops. Knight c6, and now d4 is under fire because queen h4 check is a threat to grab my d4 pawn. So what to do? To continue development, I think, with the bishop e3 might be logical. But then knight goes to e7, preparing knight f5. So in that case, I will probably play bishop d3. Yeah, looks like I can control the position. But I'm slow, so already I have this time disadvantage. I mean, I have 2 minutes left. My opponent has 4. So I have to be faster. f6, undermining e5. Well, it looks sensible. Okay, so what to do now? Maybe to make things a bit complicated, I don't know, by playing bishop b5, but then a6 might be annoying. Not sure what to do. Not sure what to do. Okay, let's try this tricky move, rook to c1. And now bishop b5, because now it is just a tempo move, right? Attacking the knight c6. And I guess now I can play bishop g5 and black will have problems with protecting knight c6. Is it possible? Or it is too cocky, I don't know. Yeah, let's try it. I have pair of bishops after all, so I have to use them. As for prodigies, guys, I just noticed you start talking about them. Actually, during this tournament, I played to Luis Angel. Well, I'm not sure about his age. I mean, he's very young, but he plays just like a monster. Before our game, he managed to win 3 or 4 games, I don't remember. So he was a leader of the tournament, and I managed to stop him a bit. And by the way, he's trained by Jan Gustafsson, I think, because several people told me about that. So that I realized why I have these problems, why I had these problems against him. Okay, what to do now? A lot of interesting possibilities, including queen to a4. But then castles. Okay, let's continue development. Angel is 12 years old. Yeah, okay. Thanks for the information. He's really great. I believe he's a future super grandmaster, no questions. He's very tough, very talented. Rook takes, rook takes. And looks like I achieved nothing out of the opening, and I have nothing but problems with the time. That's very bad. But okay, let's keep fighting. Whoa, g5. Oh, that's a bit risky, I think. This weakens a lot. To protect that pawn or not? Why not? Why not to protect it? Now I should castle and undermine black's pawns g5 and h6. I think I can even sacrifice a pawn for that. Maybe it was a mistake. I'm not sure. I have no time. I have to be fast now. Knight takes. Gets closer to the king. Now I have good attacking perspectives. What? What about this check now? Nowhere to go. Queen g6 checkmate. Next move. Oh, I was lucky enough. Checkmate. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Actually, I was at great risk. I mean, yeah. Only 26 seconds left. But I believe that already here, after taking on f4, I already had an edge, at least, because let's pay attention to the bishop c6. This bishop is definitely out of play. Everything will be based on the king side, right? So I have some clear attacking perspectives there, and opposite colored bishops is a great factor when you attack, right? We discussed this several times during training Tuesdays, and well, here it was a great example. I believe that it was better to avoid taking on f4 and maybe to play knight c4 immediately. At least it stops my knight from being active immediately, and my queen as well, and at the same time black creates a threat of knight e3 or something. Everything else was quite interesting, so the opening was non-standard, right? Here, after bishop b4, knight c3 and d5, I think I missed a great opportunity to play queen a4 check. Yeah, so after that the knight is forced to c6, otherwise I just take the bishop, right? I think I don't blunder anything. So knight c6 is forced, after which I just take on d5. So again, black is forced to take on d5, and I think I'm very close to winning after, let's say, bishop b5 move. So position is very good. I mean, bishop c6 is a threat, queen b4 is a threat. So again, I think black is just forced to take on c3, making my center just great. And after knight to e7, well, we have the same position, the same type of position like in the game, but look, the knight is on c6, which means black can't undermine my center quickly, so that I have just a great advantage in the center. So I can continue development with the knight e2, it is possible. I can force further weakening of the position by playing bishop g5, forcing f6 and so on. So I have a lot of different possibilities here. I mean, white definitely has an advantage. So that is what I missed. So for black, I mean, it's probably better not to play bishop b4 and to play d5 immediately here. And to do the same stuff. So after cd5, ed5, and e5, c5 is a good looking move, and I'm not sure white is great here. That's the idea. Okay, let's continue. Challenges, and the next was Marinov from Spain. Yeah. Okay, accept. Let us play. White to move. Looks like Marinov is not online, right? Yeah, that's true. Okay, abort. Sorry. Let us continue with somebody who's in line. Triconti or Tricontal. Triconti, I think. Accept. And again with white. I'm lucky enough today, so all the games with white pieces. Something new. And Sicilian again. Okay. Neither of probably, or dragon. You never know. Knight f6, knight c3, g6, dragon. Okay. I typically play this. Bishop e2, castles, and now what? Now rook to e1. Preparing bishop to f1. Now, of course, knight b3 to prevent all the tactics connected with knight takes d4 and then bishop starts working. And another idea behind knight to b3 is to control d5 square. Okay, bishop to e6. I think bishop to f1 should be okay. a6, and well, there are a lot of different moves possible. I think immediate knight d5 could be a good idea, because actually all white's play is dedicated to this jump with the knight. And I think it makes sense to play that prior black's b5, because in case of b5 I can think of undermining this pawn somehow. Maybe I will start with the c3 move, just controlling b4 square, and then playing a4, undermining that pawn. So there are a lot of possibilities. And after rook c8, c3 is also a good idea, because one of black's typical maneuvers is to take on d5, then to play knight b4. After c3, we can see that b4 square is protected. So this maneuver is prevented. Very nice for me. And now I can continue with the probably a4, a5, trying to fix black's weaknesses on the queen side. Bishop g4 is just a mistake. Very serious one, because knight f6 check and then takes on g4. Just a blunder. Okay. So of course bishop g4 was a bad move. Everything else was just a typical dragon play. Okay, so next challenger is Migtal. Except, yeah, my good old opponent, e4. I expect knight off as usual. Knight to f3, d6, d4, nothing new. Takes on d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6. Yeah. But let's try something new. So I usually play bishop c4 against you. So today I will play bishop e2. Exactly the same that I played against Louis Engel in the tournament, but he played e5. Okay, e6 is also a good move. Bishop e7. Now there are a lot of opportunities. I will try this. King to h1. Just preparing f4. I mean, f4 was also possible immediately, but I usually like doing this prophylactic move, just preventing any sort of activity on diagonal a7, g1. Okay, knight to d7, not a typical development for the knight, I think. Well, at least knight c6 is more popular, in my opinion, or something like queen c7 followed by knight c6. So at the moment I can see that b5 is not the case because of knight c6, so I can save the time on playing a4. So maybe I can make another useful move. Let's say queen to e1 is possible. But knight will go to c5, so I have to understand what I'm going to do with the e4 pawn. How I'm going to protect it. Maybe with the bishop f3. So, okay, let's continue with the normal development. Bishop goes to e3. And if knight c5, then probably just bishop to f3. Why not? Queen c7. So now b5 is kind of prepared. So maybe a4 or just bishop to f3. I don't know which is better. So bishop f3, b5, e5, takes on e5, takes on a8 simply. So I'm in exchange up. Yeah, so probably it won't be possible in this case. But at the same time, if I play bishop f3, this we can c4 squares, knight b6, knight c4 could be possible. Okay, maybe queen e1 instead, but then b5. Well, I will play just a4 to solve all the problems connected with b5. So now I don't need to think about it. b6, typical reaction as well. So, f5 maybe, then knight to e5. So it's better for me to wait a bit. So let's try this. Maybe now f5, I don't know. f5, e5 now goes to, let's say, e2. I will have some perspectives of playing against d5 square. Might be interesting. g4 is an interesting move as well. Well, a lot of different plans. So let's try f5 this time. Okay, and I guess knight e2 is more sensible than b3, because on b3 there is nothing to do. After e2, I have a chance to play knight g3 and then maybe even knight h5, fighting for d5 square. That's the plan. Another typical plan is, of course, to play bishop g5 takes f6 at some point. Oh, rook to d8. So black is ready to play d5 or not? I mean, if I play g4 now, what is going on? g4, knight c5, now goes to g3, d5. I take on d5, and looks like I control everything there. So let's try g4. Interesting position. Very brave. Okay, so ed5, e4 probably. But okay, I can take even with the bishop, I think. No, with the bishop is not great. With the knight, definitely. Knight takes, rook d5. So probably I will have extra pawn after all. But black will have some activity. But okay, what to do? I have to take on d5 anyway. Okay, so pawn up, but black has some sort of initiative at the moment. So if I manage to blockade everything, or to play g5 next move, I think I will be much better. Oh, rook d7, yeah, g5. Should be just devastating, I suppose. Knight d8 and now f6. Oh, yeah. Position looks great. Simply great. Okay, so not f5 immediately, or I don't know, after taking on f6. Bishop g4 is also quite promising. So okay, let's play knight to f5, I think. It can't be bad. Simply can't be bad. After f takes g5, in addition to knight takes c7 followed by bishop g5, I also have some interesting ideas connected with knight h6 check. Then taking on f7. Not that clear, of course, but also looks very nice. So knight h6 or knight takes e7. Okay, I'll take on e7. I think it's just a normal way of playing. I have pair of bishops. The king looks very exposed. I have some sort of advantage in space, so position should be very good. But I have a problem with the time again. So what now? What's now? Okay, let's play this move. Just preparing queen to g4 and preventing e4 with the tempo. So now e4 is possible, of course, but it won't be a tempo move. Rook f7 should be winning somehow. Let's play b4. Maybe not immediately, of course, but I have to bring up the reserves. That's why I played b4, to have the knight closer to opponent's king. That's my idea. 30 seconds only. That's a problem. That's a problem. Oh, very tough defense. Check where. Okay. Let's protect d5 and prepare knight to f5. Knight to f5 anyway. So now I'm very close. but I still have to do a lot of work to open up the position of opponent's king. '96. Yep. Let's go to attack. Everybody's in their tag, but... Oh, bishop takes. It's winning. That was a blunder. I was lucky enough, of course. And by the way, Miktal, that was your best game against me. I mean, probably only this bishop d5 was a serious mistake because you didn't see this bishop on h6 controlling d2, so the whole line doesn't work because I just win a piece. So king h8 was still playable, after which I'm not sure what would I have played. And also after rook f5, I think knight h4 was interesting, because after queen g4 check, you just come back to g6. Well, position is quite good for white because a lot of space. I can probably continue with the c4, just protecting everything. I have pair of bishops and good attacking perspectives, but well, you have an extra pawn, and it might be very complicated stuff for white to play this position, especially having this time trouble. Okay, so probably I missed something somewhere, because after f6 it already looked pretty much winning. I mean, takes on f6, I don't know. Now goes to f5, takes on g5. I took on e7, but maybe, as I said, knight to h6 deserves serious attention. King goes to g7. I was just lazy to calculate all these variations, but I have a feeling that it should be winning. Let's say knight takes f7, king takes f7. What's next? Bishop to h5, or what? Or just d6. D6 also looks very nice for white. Yeah, d6 looks very nice. But then rook takes d6 probably. Yeah, not that clear. Okay. So maybe bishop to where? I don't know. Bishop to h5. King goes to, let's say, g8. To prevent rook f7 with check, I mean. And now what? Also not that clear, to be honest. Yeah, also not clear. So I don't know. Maybe I played well and just missed somewhere during the game later. I mean, don't know. Yeah, but very nice. Anyway, it was very, very interesting encounter. Thanks a lot. Let us continue. So who is the next challenger? Moby. Accept. Moby, are you online? Yes, you are. And f4. Come on. I don't like playing these openings. Definitely don't like, but what can I do? My opponent wants to play that, and I play with black, so I'm forced to do that sort of things. Yeah. So it is the bird opening, as far as I remember, right? Starting with f4. Okay, now let's play in the center. It can't be bad. Just a healthy central strategy, right? Now we have something like Queen's Indian defense reversed, maybe. Well, just imagine pawn on e3 and bishop on e2 instead of g3 and bishop g2, and we definitely have a reversed Queen's Indian. Yeah, I see training Tuesday helps, definitely. So all my students from training Tuesday become stronger, so I can feel it playing to them. That's very nice. Actually, I'm happy that my shows help you guys to get better. Oh, Mubby, what is going on? You're just thinking. Are you still online? Let's check. Yeah, Mubby is still online. Oh, D3, come on, this weakens a lot. I mean, E3 is now just deadly weak. I guess it's just decisive weakening. Yeah, D3 was not great. I mean, it was necessary to start with E3 and then to play D3, because now after D4, I think this whole on E3 will decide sooner or later. H3, another weakening of dark squares. Okay, knight d5. My knight goes to e3, quite a straightforward plan. Bishop c1, well, knight to e3 anyway, takes on e3, and then c3, protecting the rook on a1. So maybe I don't have to hurry up with this knight a3 jump. But what to do instead? Probably I can play h5, just stopping this g4 move. I can also do what? Yeah, h5 looks just very natural. Yeah, I will play h5, why not? It looks like White's only active plan to play g4. So why not to stop him from doing that? Yeah, I'm satisfied with the result of the opening. The next stage is just to understand what to do next. First of all, White has a serious problem with completing the development. It's not quite clear what to do with the knight b1, because knight b1 also controls c3 square, which is quite weak. Okay, king h2. White has some useful moves. Now what? Bishop to f5 simply, and then queen d7, just bringing everything to the center. Yeah, sensible. Why not? But bishop f5, knight to h4, not very good for me, maybe. But then I can play even e6, I think. Knight takes f5, pawn takes f5. I'm still better. Okay, let's play bishop f5. Let's try it. There are a lot of different ways. Queen d6 might also stop g4 without weakening yourself. I don't think h5 is a critical weakening. I mean, how can White use it? To occupy g5 square? Yeah, but it makes no harm, I mean, so. And at some point I can even think of playing h4, just weakening f4 pawn. So there are a lot of different ideas. Okay, so e5 is in the air. So I can somehow prepare that by playing queen d6 rook to e8 or something. But queen d6 knight to a3 maybe just to c4. So yeah, let's occupy this square. Well, black has more space. This great pawn on d4, controlling c3 and e3, so White is struggling to find a good way to play. Okay, let's bring the rook to the center. Let's say to e8 or to d8. I don't know which position will be better for it, but let's start with the b6, because at some point I can even play a6, b5, grabbing more space on the queen side. Okay, rook here. Now let's put the rook to d8, for instance. Okay, I take en passant. It gives me pair of bishops, so quite good. And I'm not quite sure what white will do when I play this move. So my knight is going to d5, if nothing else. And nothing else, I mean bishop b2 is now a threat, trapping the rook. Okay, I missed this simple move. So I actually blundered it, right? Very bad. But still, what about queen to d4? Attacking the rook e3. And maybe, just maybe, I'm not sure, creating a threat of queen b2. Just paralyzing white's play. At the same time, I have an idea of playing h4. Queen d2. So now, definitely this queen b2 attacking the knight on b1. Yeah, strange position. So knight is hanging, pawn on c2 is hanging, the rook on a3 is also vulnerable. So white's position is crumbling. If c3, well, I can even just take on d2 and then, yeah, take on d3. Now what can I do? I can take on c2 with the knight or with the queen. After knight takes c2, my knight will be pinned. So I prefer just taking on c2 with the queen. Now d3 drops. In any case, I mean. Rook to a1. Okay, I will take the queen. Now I'll take on d3. Yeah, position is lost for white. I'm 2 pawns up. Crazy bishops. Everything is just fine. Yeah. Let's take here. Now what? Bishop to d3 looks fine. Bishop to c2 looks fine. I don't know, f6 even looks fine. Bishop takes c5 is also technically winning position. So rook takes d2. Rook takes e7, then, I don't know, rook to b2, preparing rook to d8 and rook to d2. A lot of interesting moves. Okay, let us simplify position a bit. I mean, why not? Yeah. Okay, so d3 was definitely a serious mistake. After d3, I just played d4, after which my position is definitely better. So, yeah. White is just not in time to cover e3 normally. I mean, knight e2, let's say knight e5, and then if knight c4, then b5. Right? And knight goes to e3 anyway. That's a big problem. So instead of d3, it was necessary to play e3 first. Controlling d4, more or less, and then playing d3. It is if white wants to play d3. Another sensible move is knight e5. Just occupying central square, a typical square for the knight here, and then continuing the development. Not that clear which way, so still maybe it will be necessary to play e3, d3, knight e2, but it's kind of typical play for this opening line. So d3 is just very bad. Okay, let us continue. Koval is next. 5 minutes. And I play with white. Okay, let's get into it. Again, c5. So Mobby says, let me... What says Mobby? Never play f4? Well, f4 is not bad. Yeah, it's playable. Especially when you play blitz, I mean. So, The next play was do this. That's the problem. Okay, dragon. Third time today, right? Am I wrong? Or it is the third game when I face dragon. It becomes more and more popular. Knight to c6, knight to b3, so we'll just continue the line. And now a5, okay. In this version, I'm not sure it is a good idea. Not sure. But okay, I have to prove it. So what about just bishop b5 here? I mean, typically black has a4, but here my pawn e4 is protected already. So maybe it makes sense. So bishop b5, if a4, I can take with both with the bishop or with the knight. So yeah, I'll play bishop b5 first. It's a good square to occupy after black played a5. Bishop goes to e6. That is quite typical. And now what? Anyway, if I want to play knight d5, I have to prevent this a4. So what to start with? Just to play bishop g5, it's kind of typical move. Or not to play bishop g5. Because the immediate knight d5 could be a problem. I mean, black plays a4 and everything is good. Okay. Let's just clarify the things with this and blockade this pawn on a5. Knight goes to b4, also typical reaction. But now I think I have a chance to come back to the center with the knight, attacking the bishop. Yeah, I think it is a sensible move. Since knight went away from c6, well, it's better for me to bring the knight back to the center. Moreover, I've created a positional threat of taking the bishop, so black has to spend the time on moving it somewhere. Okay, f3, I think it is not a weakening of the position, because I wanted actually to put my bishop somewhere on e3, and well, f3 is a good preparation of it. So in many cases I put the bishop on g5 in this opening line because it helps me to fight for the center, to exert some pressure on black's position. But in this particular case, when black already played a5, e3 is also a sensible position because now bishop controls b6 square, which is weakened and might be a problem in the future for black, of course. Okay. No immediate threats, so probably I can continue with improvement of my queen's position. So what black will do in this position? It's not so easy to find an active plan. If bishop takes on b5, well, I will take with the knight for d4. After that, it is also not that easy to find an active plan. My plan is quite easy. I want to exploit the weakness of the b6 square in particular, and well, the vulnerability of black's queen side in general. So probably my long-term play will be based on occupation of b6 square with the bishop. At least I will try to do everything to create a threat of doing that. Another interesting idea is just to get rid of the knight b4 by playing c3, but for this purpose, of course, I have to prepare carefully, just protecting c2 maybe, and then playing knight to b5 at some point. Okay, so what can I do? I can, let's say, play rook to c1 now. I don't think it's a bad idea, so let's try it. Now I protect c2 pawn, so I'm more or less ready for taking on d7, let's say, and then playing knight c to b5. Yeah. So let's try it. Now c to b5. And now c3 next move, just making knight passive. That's the idea. Or maybe even c4 at some point. But, well, I want to start with the c3 just to see where this knight goes. c3 now. And the knight is passive. Or at least not that active. Also sort of achievement for me. Okay, now what? So now let's go into c5. That's sort of problem. So let's just prevent it. I don't think it's bad. And grab even more space on the queen side. Rook to c4. Okay, what is going on? If I play just, I don't know, queen to d3, then what? Queen to c8, knight to a7, queen to c7, and another knight to b5. Yeah. Let's just attack the rook. And ask it politely just to go away. Oh, 40 seconds. I have to be quick. I have to be quick. So queen is attacked. And when the queen goes away from the c-file, I just grab the rook. That was my plan. So my knight a7 controls c8 and c6, and all other pieces control other squares on the c-file. So queen is forced away from the c-file, and they can take the rook next move, right? Yeah, I was lucky enough because I was already in a great time trouble, but my opponent missed the idea of knight a7 followed by another knight to b5. So now rook drops. That's the problem. So rook c4 was definitely a mistake. Because after queen d3, rook is forced back to c8, which is quite ugly. But still, it was the best move probably. And after rook c8, probably I can try something like, I don't know, bishop to d2, just protecting b4, and then gradually exerting pressure. Knight from d4 goes to b3, attacking a5, forcing black to take on b4 at some point, and I have 2 pawns against 1, and so on. So white's advantage, if it exists, of course, in this position, is not great, of course. It's just tiny one. So actually what white has in this setup and what white has in this particular position is kind of pressure, right? Psychological pressure and, of course, positional pressure. So black has to be very patient to play this position correctly. So definitely white achieved something with maneuvering because white's knights are better than black's ones. So especially knight on a6 is kind of very poor and definitely misplaced. So if I don't blunder anything tactically, then probably white's position is okay. But maybe black has some sort of counterplay after e5, let's say knight b3 and immediate d5. So it might be the case. So maybe this queen d3 wasn't the best reaction. After rook c8, maybe it makes sense just to go back to d2, or maybe even to b1. I don't know. b1 is also an interesting square to occupy, protecting b4 pawn and maybe intending to occupy b3 square. So also makes sense. Not sure. Maybe b4 was already kind of too much, because it was possible to come back with the rook to a1, because the only idea behind having the rook on c1 was to play c3. So rook goes back to a1, let's say, knight goes to c5, and after that I have no problems with playing b4 with the tempo. So there are a lot of different plans for white, a lot of different possibilities. So white's position is quite flexible. Black's one is also quite flexible. So it is a question of patience to play this position. Okay, so let's continue. Taste your loss. Okay, I will taste it. Maybe. Maybe not. Let's play. Sip of water helps a lot. d3. By the way, in one of the games in the tournament in Hamburg, one of my opponents played e3 first move. Okay, d3 also makes sense. Let's continue with the d5. I don't believe this central move is bad. g3. Okay, here I prefer to play this e6 without even putting the bishop on g4. I like this approach. Maybe I will have a chance to show you why. Yeah, white continues with the typical knight d2, and here I like this move, knight to c6, preparing e5. It is the move which was analyzed deeply and played many times by Levon Aronian. So the idea is that we achieve the same typical Reti position after white takes, okay, knight takes e4. Well, typically if pawn takes e4, black plays e5, the same typical position for Reti. The bishop is still on c8, which is quite good for black, because in many cases he can occupy a better position than on h5 or g4. So something like b6 and bishop a6, that's the improvement if compared to the main line of Reti. Okay, knight takes e4. Well, let's take it. I don't think white has anything here. So just e5, let's say. Just continuing development. Well, position is quite dry. So symmetrical. Not so easy to squeeze something out of it. But very solid at the same time. Very solid. Okay. Queen goes to c8. Typical square for a queen in this opening line. Preparing something like bishop to h3 maybe. c3, okay. b4 is maybe a plan. Let's stop it. Knight to g5. Okay, I will just capture it. I don't like giving up a pair of bishops, but I think in this particular position it's not that critical. The knight might be even a bit better in the sense of maneuvering. So let's grab the space. On the queen side, I will be happy to see something like a3 from white's side. In this case, b3 will be weak, and well, I will have a chance to use it. But f4, yep, may be sensible. So if white plays f5, I'm not really against. I don't think it will be very dangerous. If white takes on e5, then I take with the knight. Also quite good for me. So what to do now? How to activate my pieces? Maybe rook to d8 simply, just to occupy the d file. I mean, probably white has some problems with doing the same because a2 is hanging. f5, okay. Bishop to f7. And g4. Well, quite active. Quite active. So maybe it's time to simplify position a bit. I mean, queen d7, queen d3 looks like a typical idea. Just to exchange the most potentially dangerous attacking piece. Yeah, I will try doing it. Or to start with h6, I don't know which is better. Let's start with the h6, maybe provoking h4. And then queen d7 should be okay. Interesting position. Very interesting. So white has some attacking perspectives on the king side. At the same time, I think my pieces are not that back coordinated to stop that. So what my opponent thinks of. g5, okay. To take there, yeah, to take. And then queen d3. I think it's just okay for me. But queen f2, I guess. The move I underestimated. Yeah. Oh, queen takes d3. Well, in the endgame, I think my position is just good. Now I take the bishop, right? Takes f7, king f7. I have extra pawn. My rook is kind of trapped. But okay, I think I can do this. I mean, b2 is also hanging, right? Also, I have an interesting plan of playing rook d8, rook d2. Might be also quite promising. I don't know what is better. Let's take on b2 first. Bishop to f1. Oh, that's not dangerous. So rook d8. Yeah, rook d8. Oh, again, another blunder, by the way, so I've missed this bishop d5 move, of course. Yeah, I play very badly today. Okay, so what to do now? Maybe to activate my king. What to do with this bishop, I don't know. What to do with the whole position? I also don't know. Yeah, very strange. Come on. I have no time. I have no time and have no ideas what to do. That's really bad. My king became aggressive. But maybe I just don't have enough time to prove. To prove it matters. Yeah, checkmate. Yeah, very bad game. Very, very bad game, actually. So, I had almost a winning position here, but I started playing very badly. Let's have a look at that. So, when I took on b2, yeah. So, bishop went to f1. Yeah, so here was a critical moment. Maybe it was better for me to improve my play even here. I mean, to play what? To play king to... Well, king to f8 is also not that clear. Right? Yep. Okay, let's come back. Maybe I could have played better here. I don't know. Bishop takes a2. No, to leave my opponent this pawn on g6 is not great. Takes here, rook to d1. So king f2 is a threat. That's the problem. That's why I can't, for example, play rook to d8, right? Yeah. So how to improve my play? a3 maybe. But yeah, rook to e2 can't be bad. So rook d7, king here, rook c7, rook b2, bishop to f1. So here, there is the question. So rook d8 was definitely a bad move because after bishop c4 and bishop d5, my rook has no perspectives there. So I should have played something else. For example, it is possible to activate the rook through the a5 square, right? So maybe a3 first. Then after bishop c4 check, I just put my king here. And then maybe rook a5, rook c5. Yeah, but bishop is quite strong anyway. Well, okay. I tasted my loss in this game, true. Very good game. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where to play better. But definitely this sort of endgame was not that clear as I expected. By the way, I think for white it was better even not to exchange queens, so to play queen f2, very flexible move, after which it is also quite hard for black to find a good move, because now g6 is really a great threat. Maybe it forces me to take on g5, but this weakens my position a lot, so I can choose between, I don't know, playing f6 or maybe just taking on g5. Also quite promising position. So yeah, makes sense probably. Okay, thanks a lot for this experience. That was quite interesting. So the next challenger. Who am I? And I play with black again. Who am I? It's your turn to move, come on. Oh, by the way, I saw an interesting idea. Yeah, rook e8 and rook e7. Yeah, maybe it makes sense. Maybe it makes sense. Who am I doesn't respond, so abort. I'm sorry, but I don't have a lot of time to wait. So another challengers. Mingilava. 5 minutes. Accept. Chronic student asks Andre, does a loss hurt a lot? Well, in Banter Blitz, not really. In Blitz in general, also not really. But in a real tournament, yeah, it hurts a lot. It's like, you know, a death. Something like that, yeah. For a couple of hours after that game, at least for me. Yeah, it hurts. Okay, knight c3, bishop to b7. Sort of. I expected a3 actually. Just Kasparov Petrosian system, but e3, well, probably also playable. But okay. I have very easy play after that, I think. Castles. Why not? Okay, I'll take this knight. So typically it makes sense just to wait until white plays a3, but here the bishop is on e2, not on d3, so why not? Now I just perform this typical plan. Oh, interesting comment. If it hurts, you know that you're still alive, unfortunately. Interesting thing about unfortunately, I mean. What is not that fortunate? That you're still alive, or that it hurts? Or both? Yeah. I've got the idea, but yeah. It was very tempting to make a joke out of it. d6 now goes to f3. So white wastes a lot of time. I mean, it can't be good. So now I fixed the weakness on c4. My next plan is quite easy. I want to attack it. That's it. So queen c7 for this purpose. Sooner or later, c file will be opened and c4 will be just captured. Okay, after queen d3, I think bishop a6 should be just winning a pawn or something. Now it's very hard to protect it. Knight d2, then just d5. dc5. Okay, I'll take this pawn. Now I can take a pawn, right? I hope I don't blunder anything. So yeah, extra pawn. Bishop to b2. Poor bishop, by the way. Poor bishop. Let's continue improving positions of my pieces. I can't see anything wrong with this approach. So just extra material, great knight on c4, poor bishop on b2. I don't want to exchange my knight actually. So, of course it also makes sense just to take on b2 and, well, I have extra pawn after all. But okay, let's try to keep this knight on the board. Queen c2, now let's say queen to c6. Controlling e4 square and maybe trying to occupy it. Oh, okay. I'm not against the simplification of the position this way. So now a2 is hanging at the same time. I think I can take it. Knight to c4. Looks very promising. Yeah. Okay. So white lost a lot of tempi. Here after e3, well, it was, and after bishop b4, it was a transposition to the well-known position from Rubinstein variation. Of course, if white would have played bishop to d3. Yeah, so it's one of well-known lines. So castles, and here, for example, black can play rook e8, preparing an f8 square for the bishop, just in case white will attack it heavily somehow, and so on. And black does something also connected with preparation of the e5 and so on. So just a normal play, controlling e4 square, trying to prepare e3, e4 for white. Bishop just doesn't belong to e2 square, so it's quite passive in my opinion. So it was much better to play bishop d3. But after castling, yeah, castling, taking on c3, and then knight to c6, maybe not the most accurate plan. I mean, maybe it was better for me to play something like, I don't know, d6, then c5, and only then knight c6 and knight a5. Just first blockading these pawns, and then maneuvering my pieces to attack them. Maybe c5, well, c5 immediately not that great in the view of dc5 and queen d6. So yeah, maybe d6 deserved attention. After knight c6, in the comments section, I noticed the proposition of playing d5. Well, it's not great in my opinion, because after knight a5, I guess I'm completely okay. So typically you have to play something like d5 only if you have a follow-up in the center, like e4, e5 quickly. Here I control e4, so this only makes white's pawn structure worse. I mean, after d5, knight a5, I simply play d6, blockading everything, and white still has these weaknesses, c4 and c3. c5 is probably a sensible idea, but c5 is double-edged. I mean, I have knight e4, I still have d6, undermining this pawn, and so on. After queen c2 and knight a5, again, c5 was suggested. Possible, of course, possible. And it was definitely much better than what white did. So white played knight e5, allowed me to play d6, c5. But still, even here, I think I can even simply take on c5. I'm not sure it is very good for white. Bishop a3 is possible, of course, but I'm not sure it is a big problem for me. Let's say after bishop e4 and then d6, and if dc5, then d5. However, in this particular case, queen a4 might be annoying. Okay, so maybe taking on c5 is too much. And instead, what to do? d6 maybe, yeah. d6 taking on c5 with the d pawn or something. Yeah, but c5 definitely deserved attention in this situation. Yeah, good suggestion. But definitely not knight e5. Knight e5 was a serious mistake. I just played d6 and then c5, after which I have very easy play. d5 and bishop a3. Well, I just played d6 after bishop a3 in that case. And come on, nothing wrong. I just stop all the pawns. Everything's fine for me. Okay, let's continue. Can't correctly read the nickname, so just accept it. And finally black. Oh, sorry, not black, white. Finally white. Okay, knight f3. And knight f6. Okay, Petrov. Very boring. Sorry. Okay, I will play knight c3. And now d4. Oh, this is a famous theory, but well, I have never seriously played this setup for white, so I don't remember all the details. I guess I have to take on e5. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. What about just playing in a gambit style somehow, just sacrificing something, I don't know. Bishop g5 is also interesting. A lot of interesting possibilities for me here. Bishop d3 is also interesting. So a lot of moves, just a lot of moves to consider. I'll try this knight takes e5, I think it should be okay. So if knight takes e4, there is also an idea of playing queen to g4. Right? Queen to e7, okay. Ah, black tries to trap me. I'm a bit exhausted of playing this. Strange lines, I mean. Okay, bishop c4 maybe just completing a development. Can be risky. Or just bishop f4, I don't know, protecting the knight on e5, but this could also be risky. Knight takes c6, queen takes e4, I don't know, bishop to e3, I achieved nothing. I just achieved nothing there. Bishop to g5 maybe. Oh, let's try bishop to g5, I don't know. It can't be very bad, I mean. So everything is hitting, right? Yeah. Okay. Very strange position. If queen takes e4, of course, I just play bishop e2 followed by castling, but queen f6, yeah. So now what? Queen d4? Akiba Rubinstein style. Just centralizing the queen. Looks nice. But I think after simple d6ers, I have nothing, simply. Well, after queen takes e4, just bishop to e2, okay? And if takes on f6, castle's short, so I think black is just lost there. So black is not better, and here black is not better. Black should be better here because of my damaged pawn structure, but well, I have a better central situation, so I have a compensation for that. Of course, queen d4 wasn't forced, so it was better to go away with the queen somewhere or to play d6 immediately, but I think the position is just equal. Yeah. So black can't be better here. What the reason? Now what? Just to play rook b1 to stop the bishop a bit there. Maybe to weaken to force something like b6. Just to wait with that, I don't know. I don't really know what to do. Okay, let's play f3. I guess this move will be forced sooner or later anyway. Now what? Rook to b1, let's say. Well, now I'm satisfied, more or less. Okay. Oh, c5. To keep the pressure or not? Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah, but still position is quite complicated and I just don't have the time to figure it out what to play. Very bad for me. Very, very bad. Okay. Let's continue the central play simply. Now I think d5. Yeah, that was wrong. That was completely wrong for me. Now probably black is definitely better. So I did everything to allow black this good position, but I simply have no time. Yeah. I'm too slow today, guys. Too slow. Too slow. Yeah. Yeah, of course. So in the opening it should be improved somewhere, of course, because white had nothing. Even after queen takes d4. Even after queen takes d4, I think, yeah, white center is a bit better, but still it's not too much. Just d6 and, well, black is okay, even here. So nothing serious. So maybe I've lost a lot of time on playing this. I don't know, c3, bishop b7. Maybe it was even better just to castle. I'm not sure that keeping the king in the center was a good idea here, because looks like black has a good development and so on. It also made sense for me just to play a4 at some point, just to be ready for black's a6, after which I can just go away with the bishop and b6 stays on its place, right? So yeah, I did several mistakes, terrible mistakes, and then position became very bad for me. Okay, thanks for the game, right? And let's continue. Let's continue. So maybe 1 or 2 games more, because it is already quite late. Yeah, 2 games, I think. This one and the next one. Okay, knight Earth or dragon? That's the question for today. Knight Earth. Okay, cool. So, this sort of things. And bishop e6, bishop e7 more popular. Because of this mainly. Just immediate f4. Okay. And here what? A lot of different possibilities, of course. Including even g4. I mean, yeah, but g4 is probably too much. But also possible, let's try. g4 with the idea of g5. There is nothing wrong with this move, I mean. So I want to play g5 and then d5 square will become quite easy to occupy. b5 I think is not a correct reaction. d5 was more interesting. Now just g5. Okay, at least I'm... Oh, knight to g8, my god. No, this can't be good. Knight to d7 was of course a move. Just preparing knight to e5. After knight g8, my idea is just, I don't know, justified completely. Now I can play immediate knight d5, I think. Because bishop g5, queen g5, knight c7, knight takes a8. Wins a lot of material for me. But I can also start with, I don't know, h4. There's also nothing wrong with that move, but then maybe h6. Okay, I will play knight d5 immediately, why not? And takes with the queen, attacking the rook on a8 and protecting g5. Now black has a lot of light squared holes in the position, so it should be winning for white, almost, of course. But yeah, with the knight on g8, it will be very hard for black to play. That was a serious mistake. Rook to a7. What about just undermining this pawn? I mean, if b5 goes away somewhere, and looks like it goes away somewhere from b5 inevitably, I have this bishop c4 move. So what's now? Bishop to f8? Looks like the only move, I don't know. Now g8, bishop f8, very nice. Oh, come on. It wasn't necessary. Okay. Still, bishop f8 probably was better than this. Because now I have an extra minor piece. Whoa, that's too much. So now it's lost completely. Bishop f8 setting up for the next game, says Cole. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so queen d4 or something. Yeah, bishop. I can pick up that rook on a7, of course, if I want. But I want more. I just want to finish the game with the checkmate somehow. Okay, let's try rook to g1. So let's exchange this very important defended piece. What is going on, guys? Come on. Yeah, probably we're all tired already, so a lot of blunders. A lot of blunders. Okay, so the final game, because I'm very close to just falling asleep. Falling asleep. So, oh, by the way, Marinov is here, just online. Okay, I'll accept the challenge because we failed to play in the beginning of the show, I think. So it will be fair, I mean, just to try once again. But okay, Marinov is again not here, so abort. Abort, and, well, the other challenger. Let's play Kasparov from Romania. Kasparov. So it was a game of two tired men. Yeah, that's true. That's really true. Okay. d4, so it will be Catalan, I suppose. Let's do it. No. No Catalan. Okay. Okay. Whew. So after e3, of course, White is not going to play for initiative. It's okay. Let's continue development. Well, it's a blunder. Just bishop a6, grabbing the exchange. Very bad. But maybe very good for a tired man like me. Not to bring a lot of effort to win the last game in this show. Okay. Extra exchange on the move number 9. Yeah. I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky this time. a4. I don't really know what to do in this position. There are so many different opportunities. Let's play a6, for instance. King to g1. Again, there are so many different plans. It's very hard to choose. Let's say this move. b3, yeah, that was my plan. I wanted to provoke this weakening. and bishop goes to b4. The things go tricky. Cowell says my record is to win the piece on move 4 in a classical game. I can't remember what was my best achievement in this sense. I mean, yeah, I don't remember. There were a lot of course, interesting situations when I was a kid. But in serious games, I mean, on the level of, well, let's say, FIDE Master, I don't remember. Okay, so rook d1, queen c7 maybe, or then knight takes d5, bishop takes d2, knight takes c7, bishop takes e1. Oh, I'm too lazy to calculate it all, but yeah, might be an interesting move, might be not. Okay, I'll try just, I don't know, knight c6, let's say. The question, is it good for a player to reach 2,100 in 1 year? From which level? From the very beginning? Well, I think not bad, of course. No. I reached this level in, let me remember, 3 or 4 years. The knight on c3 is hanging, and then pawn on c2 is also hanging, but knight d5 is probably possible. Yeah, knight b1 is much worse. Now I just take on d2, then I take on c2, and well, rook takes c2 now. Well, again, knight e4 is very tempting. And then what? Bishop to d3 maybe. Okay, let's play it anyway. Too tempting not to make this move. To take on f2 with the rook or with the knight? That is the question. I believe both are winning. Well, let's take with the knight. You know what? I'm almost sleeping. That's very bad. I'm just about to close my eyes. Let's play e5. And now what? Knight h3 check. King goes to h1, then queen jumps to, let's say, g4. Creating a threat of queen f3 and queen e4. I can't see a defense. So let's do it. Check. And queen g4. A double attack, sort of. Queen f3 and queen e4. It's possible to cover both squares with the help of knight e2 move, but it doesn't really help. So I think I should win next move. Whew, yeah. F3 is covered, but E4 is not. Lost. So everything started, of course, with this blunder after queen e2. So I just played bishop a6, winning the exchange, and the next was just a conversion process. Of course, e3 is also quite passive move, so instead c4 should be played. So main Catalanian move. So you developed your bishop on g2 to use this long diagonal, h1, a8. So you have to do everything to try to open up this diagonal to make your bishop active. That's the plan. So c4 just helps you to reach this goal. So you exert the pressure on d5, the main barrier on the way of your bishop. That's the plan for Catalanian players, main one. You have to sacrifice a pawn in many cases. Yeah, that's true. But in a compensation, you achieve a great bishop and great perspectives in the center. That's your plan. That's the idea. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for this comeback show. I appreciated it, despite losing the game in a very bad style and also playing... Or I lost 2 games, yeah? Yeah, I lost 2 games. I lost 2 games, come on, it's too much. But anyway, I'm happy that many guys who follow my Training Tuesday show as well just become better. I can feel it playing to them. So very nice. And you are all welcome to next Training Tuesday show, but to follow it, you have to be a premium member. So if you're still not, just do it. It's a great moment to do that. Thanks a lot. Good night to many of them. I mean, premium players, premium members. Come on, what I am talking about? Yeah, it's too late here in Germany, so it's a very good moment for me to fall asleep, right? Because I start talking nonsense, right? So good night to all of you guys, right? Take care. Thanks for following me. Thanks for being with me, and see you next Tuesday. Bye bye.